What if the greatest obstacle in your life wasn't external but internal? Brianna Wiest, The Mountain Is You challenges us to confront the self-sabotage and limiting beliefs that hold us back. This is the story of how I turned inward to climb my own mountain, transforming challenges into opportunities for growth and becoming the person I was always meant to be. Wiest begins by explaining that self-sabotage is often a misguided way of coping with fear, uncertainty, or unresolved emotions. It's not that we deliberately want to fail. Rather, our subconscious creates barriers as a way to protect us from perceived harm. I saw myself clearly in her words. There were times when I avoided taking risks because I feared failure, procrastinated on important goals, or stayed in situations that no longer served me. These patterns weren't random. They were rooted in deep-seated fears of change and rejection. Wiest's insights helped me see that self-sabotage wasn't the enemy. It was a signal. It was a sign that I needed to address underlying issues and recalibrate my beliefs. By understanding the why behind my actions, I began to take the first steps toward breaking free from self-imposed limitations. I also began tracking my self-sabotaging behaviors in a journal, identifying patterns and triggers. This practice allowed me to spot moments where fear or doubt guided my decisions. Over time, I realized that acknowledging these behaviors without judgment was the first step to reclaiming control. Self-sabotage wasn't a flaw. It was an invitation to grow. The more I examined my actions, the more I uncovered hidden fears that had dictated my choices. I realized that many of my self-sabotaging tendencies were rooted in a desire for control, a fear of the unknown, or a need to avoid vulnerability. Wiest's lessons gave me the tools to start dismantling these patterns, one choice at a time. One of the book's most profound lessons is that our pain isn't meant to break us, it's meant to build us. Wiest encourages us to see challenges as opportunities for growth, reframing struggles as stepping stones to a stronger self. I reflected on a difficult period in my life when I faced both personal and professional setbacks. At the time, it felt overwhelming, but Wiest's perspective encouraged me to look at that experience differently. Instead of seeing it as a failure, I began to see it as a turning point, a moment that forced me to confront what wasn't working and rebuild on a stronger foundation. By leaning into my pain rather than avoiding it, I discovered resilience and clarity. Wiest's message reminded me that the mountain isn't there to block us. It's there to show us how strong we can become when we choose to climb it. To deepen this practice, I started embracing discomfort in smaller, everyday situations. Whether it was trying a new skill or facing constructive criticism, these moments became opportunities to build emotional muscle. Pain, I realized, wasn't the enemy. It was a teacher guiding me toward a better version of myself. Over time, I began to see patterns in how pain shaped my growth. Each setback taught me a lesson, from the importance of patience to the power of persistence. Wiest's perspective transformed my relationship with adversity, helping me approach challenges with curiosity and courage rather than fear. Wiest emphasizes that unprocessed emotions are often at the root of self-sabotage. She argues that healing begins when we allow ourselves to feel and process our emotions fully, rather than suppressing them. I started journaling as a way to explore my emotions. At first, it felt awkward to confront feelings I had long avoided, but over time, the practice became liberating. Writing about my fears, frustrations, and hopes gave me a sense of clarity and release. I also began practicing mindfulness and meditation, creating space to observe my emotions without judgment. These practices taught me that emotions are temporary and that by acknowledging them, I could let them pass rather than letting them control me. Wiest's insights reminded me that healing isn't about erasing pain. It's about integrating it into a fuller, more compassionate understanding of ourselves. Additionally, I explored techniques like deep breathing and body scanning to connect with the physical sensations of my emotions. This approach helped me recognize how unprocessed feelings manifested in my body, from tension in my shoulders to a tightness in my chest. By addressing these physical cues, I found another pathway to emotional healing and balance. I also sought out therapy to gain deeper insights into my emotional patterns. Through guided conversations, I uncovered past experiences that shaped my current behaviors. This process of self-discovery was challenging but ultimately rewarding, allowing me to release old wounds and make space for growth. A recurring theme in The Mountain is the idea that we often live by outdated stories about who we are and what we're capable of. Wiest encourages us to rewrite these narratives, replacing limiting beliefs with empowering truths. I realized that I had been telling myself stories like, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed." These narratives weren't facts. They were assumptions I had internalized over time. Inspired by Wiest, I began to challenge these beliefs by identifying evidence of my strengths and accomplishments. I also wrote a new story for myself, one where I was capable, resilient, and deserving of success. This wasn't just an exercise in optimism. It was a way to consciously shift my mindset and align my actions with my goals. Wiest's lesson taught me that the stories we tell ourselves shape our reality, and it's never too late to rewrite them. To make this practice more powerful, I created affirmations and visual reminders of my new narrative. Post-it notes with phrases like, "I am enough," and "I create my own success" became daily prompts to align my actions with my aspirations. Each time I repeated these affirmations, I reinforced my commitment to living my new story. I also began sharing my rewritten narrative with trusted friends and mentors. Their encouragement and feedback helped solidify my new identity, making it easier to stay committed to the positive changes I was cultivating. Emotional resilience, according to Wiest, is the ability to navigate life's challenges without losing sight of our goals or values. It's about learning to respond to setbacks with grace and determination rather than frustration or despair. I began building resilience by embracing discomfort as a natural part of growth. Whether it was tackling a challenging project or having difficult conversations, I reminded myself that discomfort was a sign of progress. Each small victory reinforced my ability to handle adversity. Wiest's advice also inspired me to practice self-compassion. Instead of criticizing myself for setbacks, I began treating myself with the same kindness I would offer a friend. This shift not only strengthened my resilience, but also helped me approach challenges with greater confidence and optimism. I also sought out role models who exemplified resilience, studying their stories to learn how they overcame obstacles. Their experiences became a source of inspiration, reminding me that setbacks are temporary and that persistence often leads to success. Resilience, I learned, is a skill we build through intentional effort and a willingness to keep going. By consistently reflecting on my progress, I discovered that resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about growing stronger with each challenge. Wiest's insights helped me view obstacles as opportunities to refine my character and deepen my sense of purpose. At its core, The Mountain is You is about becoming the best version of yourself, your higher self. Wiest explains that this involves aligning your daily actions with your deepest values and aspirations. I started this process by clarifying my priorities and setting intentions for how I wanted to show up each day. I asked myself questions like, what kind of person do I want to be? And how can I live in alignment with my goals? These reflections became a compass, guiding my decisions and actions. Aligning with my higher self also meant letting go of habits and relationships that no longer served me. This wasn't easy, but it created space for growth and fulfillment. Wiest's lesson reminded me that living authentically requires courage, but the rewards are worth it. To maintain this alignment, I developed a morning ritual that included journaling, affirmations, and visualization. These practices helped me start each day with intention, ensuring that my actions reflected my higher self. Over time, this alignment brought a sense of peace and purpose to every aspect of my life. Wiest identifies resistance as one of the biggest barriers to change. Whether it's fear, procrastination, or doubt, resistance often shows up when we're on the verge of growth. She encourages us to see resistance not as a stop sign, but as a signal to push forward. I began noticing the ways resistance manifested in my life, such as avoiding tasks that felt overwhelming or doubting my ability to succeed. Instead of giving in, I started breaking these tasks into smaller, manageable steps. Each small action built momentum, making it easier to keep moving forward. Wiest's insights also helped me reframe resistance as a natural part of the growth process. By leaning into discomfort and trusting in my ability to adapt, I found that the obstacles I once avoided became opportunities to build strength and confidence. I also created an accountability system by sharing my goals with a trusted friend. Their encouragement and occasional check-ins kept me on track, helping me navigate resistance with support and determination. Resistance, I realized, was not a roadblock but a sign that I was moving in the right direction. Reaching the summit, Wiest explains, isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about realizing that the journey itself is what transforms us. Each challenge we face and overcome brings us closer to our true selves. As I reflected on my journey, I saw how climbing my own mountain had reshaped my perspective. The fears and doubts that once held me back had become stepping stones to resilience and self-discovery. I was no longer intimidated by the mountain. I was grateful for it. Wiest's message reminded me that the greatest achievement isn't conquering the mountain. It's becoming the person who dares to climb it. The summit is not just a destination, but a reflection of the growth and transformation that happens along the way. I learned that each step, no matter how small, contributes to a larger journey. With every challenge I embraced and every obstacle I overcame, I inched closer to my higher self. The mountain was never my enemy. It was my greatest teacher, showing me the strength and potential I had all along. The mountain is you taught me that the barriers we face are often within us, but so is the strength to overcome them. By understanding self-sabotage, embracing growth, and aligning with our higher selves, we can transform our challenges into opportunities for greatness. What mountain are you ready to climb? Remember, the summit is within you.